Do you think I'm spooky?
Be afraid. Be very afraid. What have you done to its eyes?
Good evening and welcome to Soft and Spooky. For today's video, I thought it would be super fun to do another watch party, especially for this movie. It is the 1980s film Friday the 13th, because there's actually a Friday the 13th in October, and that's when this video is going to be posting. So I am so excited. The stars aligned, and I really did want to go through this movie with you all. Just as a little disclaimer, since this is a watch party, I am going to be going through the movie in its entirety, so spoilers abound. There are going to be a ton of them. And without further ado, let's sink our teeth in. So this entire movie actually takes place in New Jersey, and it is at the fictional summer camp called Crystal Lake. The movie starts out back in time in 1958, where we have a bunch of counselors kind of sitting around giving a kumbaya type beat. Hallelujah. Outside of this cabin with all of the counselors, we have this really suspenseful score that was created by Henry Manfredini. This man is a very accomplished composer, and he has such a long IMDb page, but I think this is his most notable, or at least most identifiable score. I think the most iconic part of the score is that little and it actually, after watching some interviews, it does kind of have some significance to the plot, but I will be going into that later because I think it'll spoil too much right now. I don't know, I have such a fondness for little details or sort of subconscious things that people put into movies that kind of hint at what's to come. And I don't know, I find that to be such an interesting part of cinema. I think it's so cool. So all of these camp counselors are singing, and they're, the one playing guitar, her eyes are fully impregnated by this other counselor that is just making that like extended eye contact. So off they slink to an empty cabin to do the Mambo number 5.
Mambo number 5.
But they are not alone. I'm sorry, my voice is like giving out still. I think I'm actually sick, but it's fine. It's fine. So we do actually get our very first kill in this scene, where we're actually kind of the POV of the killer. And how can I be nice about this? So basically, like, the camera kind of like goes up to Barry really close, and then it goes out of focus, and it just cracked me up because all I could imagine was that maybe the killer's like farsighted, which honestly could kind of make sense. So yeah, he basically gets a stab to the gut, and then the attacker turns to the girl, and she just kind of does this like half-hearted scream, and then she's just kind of going back and forth, like not really running at all. She doesn't get away, and I assume she got killed because we don't really see anything. It basically freeze frames on her pain death face and then zooms in, and just, what a treat. Honestly, the score leading into the title sequence is actually pretty nice and suspenseful. There are a few very eccentric little things inside the score. Those sounds really remind me of when I first got my iPad and I was having a little too much fun with GarageBand. Are you okay, buddy? He cupping a bear ball. I do definitely feel like the music makes up for the kind of lackluster title sequences. Like, there's nothing really interesting about them. And then also the typography is just like really basic. It just, I don't know. It's crazy too, because I mean, they're iconic like font here. It's not present in the title sequences. And so I'm just like, this is so boring. do something cool. After the credits, we are actually brought to quote unquote present day, which was 1980, and we meet this absolute little sweetie pie named Annie. One of the local townspeople offers her a ride towards the camp and just serves to be the quintessential creepy Uber driver.
All the girls up there gonna look as good as you?
I don't know.
You goody camp blood, ain't you? God damn it, Ralph, get out of here. Go on, get!
Also, hey everyone, this is Ralph. He's just like a walking Simpsons, like that lemon meme. So basically he's just warning Annie that like the camp's cursed, not a good time, and then he rides off on his bike menacingly.
He's just standing there, menacingly.
The rest of the counselors that are going to be at Crystal Lake are these rowdy teenagers. One of which is actually a 22-year-old Kevin Bacon. I love it. And I'm not gonna lie, like the tonal shift of this frantic banjo music just absolutely sent me into orbit. I thought that was so funny and like unexpected. Someone is just absolutely shredding it on that banjo. And I timed it, and it is roughly 1 minute and 6 seconds of just straight banjo music. And I'm not sure what to do with that information. So the counselors make their way to the camp, and we meet Steve Christie, who is actually the one organizing the opening of Camp Crystal Lake. He is there just chopping, I guess, a stump. I don't know why. But yeah, he's chopping on a stump in just his most hoochie daddy jorts. I love it. And he's also assisted by Alice. We get a little bit of introductions. If I'm being honest, their names don't matter. The character development on this movie is, let's just say it's not the focal point. Basically, from my memory, we have Kevin Bacon plays a character named Jack. His girlfriend is named Marcy. And then we have Ned? Ted? Todd? I think his name's Ned. And then we also have Brenda, who, hands down, she's my favorite. And then off screen, there was also Bill, who was already there, and he's very cute. So the crew starts to get to work getting the camp set up, and we also get into some shenanigans because Brenda is starting to set up the archery range. Meanwhile, Ned almost hits her with one of the arrows, and just so cool, man. You're so funny. We also check in on our girl Annie. She has just been dropped off by the town local. As she's walking along and hitchhiking, a Jeep actually slows down and lets her in, and she just begins oversharing like I do with all of my tattoo artists. She's talking about how like she's always dreamed of working with children, which honestly is kind of an interesting point and like kind of sad when you find out the ending of the movie, because it actually seems like Annie does have, I don't know, a good heart, and she was going to camp for the right reasons. So they're driving along, and the Jeep actually passes the entrance to Camp Crystal Lake, and Annie's like, hey, be super cool if I could get out now. And in turn, the driver speeds up. So Annie does this like quick little barrel roll out of the car as the unseen driver starts to follow her into the woods. So yeah, the assailant catches up to her and slits Annie's throat. And this is actually the very first kill that we see on screen in the movie. And I'm gonna give a hot take, but I feel like the kills so far have been super whack.
It's hair, whack!
So it's not even the special effects makeup that Tom Savini did. I think that actually the gore looks very good to me. It's more so the acting and choreography of this kill, because I don't know, the way that the actor moves doesn't feel like it corresponds with the wound pattern to me. Because, I don't know, they move like, so if you were slitting a throat, you would kind of go like this, like the fattest part of the blade is going first. But the movement that they did almost looked like it was the skinniest part going first. And that bothers me. I don't like that. It honestly kind of reminds me, and I'll see if I can find a clip somewhere, of that like really weird throat slit that they did in season 2 of You, where Love kills like the babysitter. It looks like a weird like dance move. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. Okay, I'm sorry. So while Alice is in her cabin, she discovers a snake just chilling there, and she screams for Bill to come in and kill it. And then the others come in too because of the commotion, and they like follow the snake under the bed. Like they all stick their freaking heads underneath the bed, where it could easily give you like the bud treatment from Kill Bill 2. It's just, they're putting themselves in like the prime position to just get, to get like lunged at by this snake. So they manage to get the upper hand, and Bill actually hacks at the snake with a machete. And initially I was just like, wow, these effects look so good, very realistic. But then I found out that apparently they actually killed an innocent bull snake to do this scene. And even like shittier is that they didn't let the handler know beforehand before they just killed his animal. Hey filmmakers, just a little tip for you. Your movie is never worth killing an animal for. Just gonna say it. I felt very upset to find this out, because it's like, it doesn't even really hold that much significance in the plot, and it was a completely unnecessary animal cruelty, and that sucks. That sucks to see, and I hate watching that scene.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
So this is actually one of the many instances where the movie kind of like lingers on the actors doing very mundane tasks. This one like somewhat gets a pass, because Alice is like getting stuff together in the kitchen, and then, ooh, here comes Ralph out the closet.
We're not coming out the closet, so you can just go away. But everyone wants you out the closet. That doesn't matter, because we're gonna stay.
So yeah, he's back on his BS doing the foreboding and Camp Blood shtick. And I can't help but notice that like the way he moves kind of reminds me of Kramer from Seinfeld. So here's actually one of the instances where I've really enjoyed the shot. Basically, we have Jack and Marcy smooching, and then it zooms out, and kind of the assumption is that, oh, it's the killer watching them. But actually, it is Ned. He is watching them and, being sad. But then further out, we also get the killer watching Ned and the couple. And I thought that was kind of nice. It really reminded me a lot of that one like sort of peeping scene in Glass Onion. So eventually Jack and Marcy want to take it to the next level, and they sneak off to a cabin but Mr. Prankster Bankster Ned actually beat them to the cabin, and instead of the normal urine-soaked mattress, it's soaked with blood. Ned's dead, baby. Ned's dead. Aw, not him. So after Jack and Marcy are finished doing their thing, Marcy has to go to the bathroom, and Jack's like, go piss, girl. And so she leaves, and he lays in the bed starting to smoke the devil's lettuce. But uh-oh, he's not alone, and the killer is actually under the bed and jams I think it's like one of the arrowheads or like a spearhead through the back of his throat. And I was so amazed at these effects. And then I found out that they actually killed Kevin Bacon to do this scene. Just kidding. But see, wouldn't that be ridiculous if they killed an actor just to shoot a movie? Justice for the snake, please. But yeah, I do have to say, like, Tom Savini, mwah, 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 you killed it. Like, I genuinely had a really hard time discerning where the prosthetic ended for the wound and his real neck began. Like, they killed it. I loved it. I didn't love it. I don't like death, but so Marcy's over there going to the bathroom, and I could never imagine being at a summer camp and I'm in the bathroom by myself in the dark and I'm just out here doing like celebrity impressions and goofing around.
I said, Lizzie, you'll always be playing.
She even hears rustling and she's just like, oh, it's my imagination. I have such a love-hate relationship with this kill because she gives like such a weak scream. Go ahead, girl, give us nothing. I don't know. I think that this kill was very interesting. You don't see an axe to the face very often. And I think it was like kind of a nice effect having the light that was dangling down, shaking around. Just, it was cool. But yeah, so Marcy's dead too. I don't know. Like, this one's not terrible, but just seeing the aftermath of it instead of actually seeing the kill take place, it's a little underwhelming compared to Kevin Bacon's kill. In rewatching this movie, I feel like I've discovered that Brenda is my favorite character. Like, she's here to have a good time. She just wants to play Monopoly with her friends. And I don't know if it's like the writing, acting, or directing, but she just seems like the most natural of all of the characters.
Fat chance you're 2 steps from Pacific Avenue in Skin City.
Especially contrasted with, I'm sorry, I love Bill, but yikes. Some of the line deliveries are so weird.
Well, what can I say? It's not much, but I call it home.
Well, what can I say? It's not much, but I call it home. As Brenda, Bill, and Alice are playing Monopoly, it is just pouring outside, and Brenda realizes that she forgot to close up her windows, so she leaves the cabin. The way she runs here just like reminds me of the way that I kind of like skulk out of the kitchen whenever I would get snacks at my parents' house. After that, we check on Steve Christie, who is at the diner. He's at the diner. We get it, he's at the diner. Some of these establishing shots are so long and I have no idea why, but it's also kind of hilarious. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but I do think it would have been kind of interesting if Steve actually ended up being the killer. Spoiler alert, he's not. There's just like a lot of interesting things, like the fact that he could be coaxing all of these counselors to continuously like come back to this camp just to line them up for the slaughter. It's especially kind of suspicious with lines like this.
I've got 6 new counselors up at camp. They are babes in the woods in every sense of the word.
There's also the fact that like he's a local, so he knows about the history of the camp. And then he also drives a Jeep, which was the same vehicle that picked up Annie earlier, and that was the killer. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like they painted him up to be the red herring, but I feel like it's not really often discussed when people talk about this movie.
Your old Ralph was out your way today. His wife was a nervous wreck till we got him home.
Wait, I'm sorry, what? Ralph has a wife?
When is it my turn to be happy?
So basically, Steve got picked up by a cop because his Jeep actually broke down and he's riding along with him to the camp. After he's dropped off, you see that Steve happens upon somebody that he knows. And then, oopsie, he dies. He's dead. But we do get the hint that maybe the killer is a town local. So, yeah, but we do find out definitively that Steve is not the killer. So back with Brenda chilling in the bathroom, because I guess like they kind of skipped over her closing the windows, but I guess she did that and then went to the bathroom. And we do actually get a very eerie shot, like, ooh, it kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies, where you just see the hand coming from behind the shower curtain. That was kind of good. That did kind of creep me out. What's also interesting is that the killer is there, and they could have just easily killed her in the same way that they killed Marcy, but instead they wait for Brenda to go back to her cabin and then basically lure her out with these cries for help. Oh, I just love how annoyed Brenda sounds here.
Where are you? Hello?
Honestly, here is where I feel like I'm kind of losing it a little bit, because I could have sworn that Brenda's death was on screen. Like, I thought that she gets some arrows or whatever and she's pinned to the archery range. Like, that is such a vivid memory for me for some reason. And I even like remember the lights turning on, and maybe if we don't even see her killed then, I thought maybe it was like revealed later where you just see her stuck to the archery target and she's got all these arrows on and the lights turn on. But no, her death is completely off screen. It's just a scream that she does in the distance. I don't know, man. I could have sworn. And I even looked it up, and there's another person on Reddit that had the same memory as me.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
So Alice is in the cabin where they were all playing Monopoly still, and I think she ends up hearing the scream, and Bill comes back, and they both decide, like, something's a little weird here. We're gonna go investigate. They go up to, like, the office or something, and they try to make a phone call, doesn't go through. And I think there was actually a really good piece of like cinematography or direction here where they go to try using the landline, and instead of really like just telling us that the line is dead, the camera actually pans up from outside the cabin and then goes along, and you see that the telephone line has been cut. And I don't know. I really appreciated that. I thought that looked really nice, and it was a nice example of like show, don't tell. And yeah, that was pretty good. Additionally, the power gets cut off. So Bill goes out to inspect the generator while Alice just kind of chills in the cabin by herself. Again, we have actors doing these mundane tasks that are just bloating up this runtime, and this one is like the most egregious out of all of them. So Alice goes through the entire process of making coffee on the stove. It doesn't even build tension. We just move to the next scene where she's looking for Bill. What was the point? To play devil's advocate, maybe I could see that this is like an effort to add more realism to the movie, but I don't know. Watching Alice make that coffee just reminded me so much of like, if you've ever seen a live play or like an improv show, and you can just kind of tell the actors are like, okay, what is my next action that I could be doing while there's no dialogue? And it just, it hurt me. We also have the benefit, this is a movie. You can just cut that stuff out. We have editing. We don't need all this. I'm frustrated. So Alice does go out after making her coffee to look for Bill, and we finally get the proof. She sees the proof that it is going down because she sees Bill just like completely murked with a bunch of arrows. So she runs back to the cabin, and I gotta hand it to her. Alice, like, she goes above and beyond with barricading the store.
Ooh, a fresh pie. Save me a slice. That's good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's... All right, that's good. Okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slices!
This is also where Brenda is revealed to be killed because her body was like flung through the window, and just a damn shame because I kind of wanted Brenda to be the final girl. I liked her personality a lot more. So it seems like the killer has left, and Alice comes out because she sees headlights, and she runs up to the Jeep thinking that it's Steve Christie's vehicle. But instead, we get our girl, the iconic Pamela Voorhees. Pamela. So Alice is pleading with Pamela to like leave. Let's get out of here. People are dying. But Pamela just keeps insisting that like she's a friend of the Christies, Steve's family, and like she's not afraid of anything. So they go back into the cabin and discover all of these bodies again. But we come to find out Mama's a little unhinged.
Oh, I couldn't let them open this place again. Could I? Not after what happened.
So the big reveal is that Pammy here, she's a literal wolf in sheep's clothing. You get it? Because of the sweater.
What?
But she is actually the villain of Friday the 13th. So now that we know that Pamela Voorhees is actually the villain, I can actually go back to that thing that I had mentioned earlier about the score.
She hears voices.
Kill her, Mommy.
I just took kill and ma, and I went, Ma. and it came out.
I also love when Pamela first comes into the cabin, she's out here acting like she didn't just mangle all of these teenagers.
Oh, what monster could have done this?
So after the big reveal and we find out the backstory of why she is killing these kids.
Did you know that a young boy drowned? The counselors weren't paying any attention. Jason should have been watched. Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
She starts to chase after Alice.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
Who said that? Don't do the voice.
So Pamela's following her, and I have to commend Betsy Palmer's portrayal of Pamela Voorhees. She just knocked it out of the park. She like gave it her all, and she like kind of got weird with it, and I really support it. I especially love this sound that she makes.
Kill her. Ah! So what if I'm the monster? Ah!
So they're out here, they're starting to tussle, and Pam asks Alice what the five fingers said to the face.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
Alice does get a good one in, and it conveniently knocks Pam into a pile of mattresses, which, good for you, Betsy. Like, honestly, the physicality of this role, she's given it her all. Pam getting up is exactly what I look like coming out of the bar bathroom, pretending like I didn't just fall headfirst into the sink.
Oh my God!
So in between the brawl, Alice manages to get away from Pam, and she hides in the kitchen pantry. And I honestly thought this was a really effective reveal with the light turning on. Initially, I thought that this door was like completely solid, but when the light turns on, you see all of this light peeking through the cracks in the door. And it just, to me, it revealed just how vulnerable Alice is and like how thin the door is, keeping her away from this killer. Unfortunately, the tension is kind of ruined because Pamela starts like chopping at the door with, I assume, an axe. And then she makes this face like when she peeks through the door, and I think it's funny. It makes me laugh, and I'm not proud that I am this way. She also did another funny ass scream, and I can't. So finally, the brawl is coming to an end, and we have navigated over to the beach, and they just start wrestling.
Oh, baby, it's payback time!
Alice in this scene is absolutely getting her ass kicked. Like, honestly, the part where her head is being slammed into the sand, that looks like she actually was getting her face slammed into sand. But she does get the upper hand, and she grabs the iconic machete, and wham bam, thank you Pam, her block gets knocked off. Honestly, gotta love a good decap. It's a good time. So Pamela Voorhees is dead, and we are seemingly winding down the movie. Alice begins to wade out into the lake with a canoe, and we see the police arrive, and she thinks that she's saved. And then we get a jump scare. No, that's not the real one. But we do actually get Jason, Pamela Voorhees' son, popping out of the water and grabbing Alice. It's kind of weird to imagine that maybe if we didn't get this jump scare at the end of Soggy Jason, we potentially might not have had this turn into a franchise. Because honestly, when you think about it, up until now, the story was very much centered in reality, and it was focused around the fact that this woman was driven mad through grief and revenge for her son's death, and she just killed a bunch of teenagers. But with this last jump scare, it's played off like her son was brought back to life. And it makes me wonder, like, do you think it was because all of these teenagers' deaths was like Pam doing sacrifices to bring him back? Or, I don't know, maybe he can just hold his breath a really long time. The very last thing that I wanted to mention, and it kind of didn't fit in anywhere in the bulk of the video, is I just want to share my appreciation for the cover art, or like the poster for Friday the 13th. The landscape filling the outline of a person and the illustrations of each of these characters, I think this cover is honestly stunning. From looking it up, it looks like it was illustrated by Alex Ebel, who is a known fantasy writer as well as illustrator, and I just want to shout it out because this honestly looks so cool. Alright, so that is officially the end of this watch party video for Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. Definitely leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stay soft and spooky.